Hello, Asha fans. Another episode of Behind the Bench, our preseason series interviews with each Division One head coach. Today we have Chris Ihling, Pinnacle Head Coach. Coach, how are you? How was the summer?
Oh, it's a great summer. I got to travel more than usual this summer. Spent some time on vacation, really enjoying myself, which was nice. It's nice to get a break. As much as I love coaching and love being around the kids, it's also nice to take a break and not have all those early morning practices all the time. So
Now
yeah.
those things are going to get started. Your team did a little traveling, not crazy, only 2 hours north to Flagstaff each preseason. What do you have the kids do? Kind of tell us how about why you guys do that every year, taking the whole program up to Flagstaff.
So this started well before I came to the program, but being a part of it's been kind of amazing. We get the rink to ourselves for the whole weekend. The kids are allowed to leave their equipment, and we have locker room for freshmen, sophomore, junior, senior, and a girls' locker room. And they're allowed to leave their stuff there all weekend long. And the coaches get a nice coaches' room where we can leave our stuff all weekend long. It's a long, tiring weekend because we get up there Friday night. We start 6 a.m. the next morning, and obviously the coaches are even starting earlier to get snacks and things for the kids. And we go. I think we finish up about 6:30 on Saturday night, and then we have our coaches meetings afterwards and dinner where we discuss all the players and placements and things like that. And then, Sunday we come back early morning again, 6 a.m. we start, a couple more ice times, and they finish up with games in the early afternoon where they're in full dress. They're broken up in two groups, one that's mostly Division One, Division Two players, and the other one with D3 and JV. And we play like a formal game with refs at the end there in their full dress. And then the whole program hikes up the mountain to the top. There's like I actually never been up there, right? Because it's kids only that go. And then all the seniors get a chance to address everybody and talk about what it means to play for Pinnacle. It's a fantastic tradition. Like I said, it started all before me. I can't take credit for any of it, to be honest with you, except being a part of it and trying to make it the best experience possible for the kids.
Now, talking about Pinnacle, a lot of tradition, a lot of legacy. Have you guys named your captainship so far this year? Do you have an idea of who are going to be your leaders for this Division One team yet?
Well, we have a lot of seniors on this team. We have one returning. He was here with us as a freshman. He won a state championship when my youngest was a senior, and he went off to play in the Boston area, and he's back now. So he's a senior. He's a returning guy, the only one with a ring. We have a ton of other seniors on the team. There's going to wind up, and honestly, we have some ideas who our real leadership crew is. I can tell you that, but being a senior at Pinnacle is real important to us. And with that many seniors, you're going to see a lot of kids with letters. So what we'll wind up with is maybe a couple of captains, those that deserve it. And then there'll be guys wearing A's on their home jerseys and not on the away jerseys and vice versa. And there's going to be a lot because I think we got about 14 seniors. So it's a really, and they're all Pinnacle kids, all been there for a long time. And, they deserve recognition in their senior year, and it's going to be hard to eliminate any of them, to be honest with you.
You have a lot of returners, but as it is every year, you're going to have seniors that move on to graduation. As we move into talking about your offense this year, two of your main offensive players from last year, Cal Butler, Sam Minthorn, move on to graduation. How do you kind of sum up their careers being with Pinnacle for 4 years and what you're going to miss from those two?
Yeah, boy, Cal really provided a lot of toughness and grit. I mean, he wasn't the biggest scorer from our team, but boy, was he gritty and worked hard, right? And that kind of guy's tough to replace. That physicality that he provided and everything else that went with his game is tough to provide. Well, who's the other one? I'm sorry, who's the
With
other?
Sam Minthorn, another good
Oh
center.
yeah,
Guys.
Minthorn. Minthorn was speed. Once again, not the biggest scorer, but man, when you needed somebody to back check and catch somebody from behind, he's a guy you could always count on to do that. Tough guys to replace. But what I will say is we lost a couple kids to AAA last year, and now they're 18s and they're allowed to play again. So Mason Knopfler is back, definitely provides a ton of scoring punch, and Carson Kamen coming back is really gonna help us. He was one of our top scorers 3 years ago. and a couple of years in, well, I think it was 1 year, 2 years in Boston. I don't remember. He was gone for 2 years, and now he's back and was training hard, and he's a puck possession guy, and it's really going to help. We had a guy like Alex Ihling, my nephew, Monkey, we call him. He's a scorer. He's a pure shooter. And without guys to feed him the puck, I think his scoring kind of hurt last year. And, if any indication we get from the seeding tournament, which isn't a lot, can't take a lot of stock in it. He's got guys feeding him the puck and he's putting pucks in the net. So, in a lot of ways, we got more scoring punch. What we lost in grit and maybe back checking, honestly, with Minthorn, we've made up with some scoring punch. So, we're hoping to win a lot of games 7-5. You know what I mean? Not that our defense is bad, because you got to remember, we're returning five defenders. And then the sixth person, so we had we almost got Drew Smith, who's a AAA player. He backed out at the last minute, decision he made for his hockey career. And he's actually off with a WHL team right now. So we may not have even seen him, to be honest with you. But we did get Jamison Bell, who played for Horizon last year. He was a Pinnacle kid, signed up late, couldn't get in on Pinnacle's team, and he went to Horizon and played there. And he was a D1 player there, a guy we hated playing against because he's steady Eddie, very calm with the puck, big, strong, full beard man, right? And that's the guy we replaced on our sixth spot with 5 returners. So we're feeling pretty good about our defense. We lost 2 good goaltenders, but the guy we got moving up from D2 is a gamer. And, I watched him all year at D2 last year, and he was very, very strong, particularly in big games. He seemed to step up, and he's very athletic. So, there's a lot to feel good about this year, to be honest with you.
With your offense, you talk about your big three with Nafla, Kamen, and Alex Ihling as well. Who are
Yeah.
some other guys that you can see make a big impact for you guys offensively?
Well, honestly, in this seeding tournament, we had scoring from every single line. So, the second line with Cole Iacono and George, and we got Vinny Highs back, who played for us a couple years ago. He's now back. That's making up our second line for now. Things are going to change throughout the season. We don't know how things are going to end up. I'll doubt we'll mess with that top line very often because those guys just worked so well together. But the other lines are all open for a little bit of tweaking. So those guys provide a lot of offense as well. They're very calm with the puck, especially Cole and George. They just don't get rattled, and they're good possession guys. And Highs has an unbelievable shot, so I expect them to do pretty well this year too. Our third line, we have Foxy coming back, and we know what he gives us. That kid just never stops going, right? And Logan Chick has been on that line, who's another guy, AAA player, who we got, never played for Pinnacle before. He's here now. Big, strong horse, man. And he had a hard time scoring the first couple games. I think he was figuring things out, and then all of a sudden started pouring pucks in at the end there. So he's another guy that can put some scoring in, and we know Chatsworth on that line as well did a lot of scoring for us last year. So we, the third line is strong, and then the fourth line is made up of a kid, AJ Lang, who we pulled up a lot last year. He's a little bit smaller, but very highly skilled. And then Ian Schmall, who played defense for us in the playoffs last year, the whole time. He was our steady call up for the playoffs last year to play defense. He's now moved to forward, and he's pretty gritty. And then we got another kid, Dane Cottle, who was he's the greatest story on the team. He started out his first year as a JV player, second year D3, last year D2, and this year made the D1 squad, which is everybody's dream who starts out at JV. And, there's been a lot of them over the years at Pinnacle, and Dane's unbelievably responsible defensively. So when I watch him play, he's always in the right place. He never gives up anything. So as far as the fourth line goes, we got, 2 gritty players and a kid with a lot of skill. They put some pucks in this past weekend too. And on top of that, I don't think they got scored on at all. So, even down to 4, we got guys we feel we can put out against other teams' top lines. And they played the top lines all weekend long. It was funny. People were trying to match up, and we just rolled and rolled and rolled because we want to see how these guys can go up against the top lines, because that's what's going to happen. and those guys held their own pretty well. So it was a couple of times we got pinned back in our zone, but that gave us things to look at and what we need to work on. Honestly, we had a great weekend. I will say that, but if we're still doing this quarters the way through the season, I'll be impressed. Right now, we started off the year that way last year, and we cruised for a while, and then we hit a patch of tougher teams, and we took a big nosedive. This team feels different, um, but you never know. So when we start playing against Mountain Ridge and Notre Dame, and they look like the tougher teams, when I watched over the weekend, things are going to be a lot different against them. So how we react in those games is still remains to be seen.
Notre Dame, they've been in the championship last 4 years. Mountain Ridge, a real up and coming team, made the semifinals last year. How about your defense? You said you returned a lot between Derryberry, Stockford, Cooper O'Mahony's back, Ethan Glantz is back. You're moving Schmall up to forward. How do you look at your defensive cores?
Our defensive core is really strong. We've got a great mix of defensive defensemen, and some guys that can score. So we have three defensemen on our two power plays at the moment. I don't know how things are going to shake out in the end, but we have enough scoring skill on the defensive line, that I think that'll help us a lot. And it's nice to be able to pair them up with guys that are a little more stay at home. A guy like Jamison Bell, just from what I saw, I didn't get to see him a lot last year unless we played against him, but from what I saw this past weekend, he's pretty solid, smart defenseman, really calm with the puck. And we got him paired up with Cooper O'Mahony, who, is an offensive guy, and where he lacks sometimes playing defense, he really provides in the offensive zone with his vision and passing. So, it's one of those things where it's a good mix. I mean, I don't know, like I said, we don't know how anything's going to shake out right now. It all looks good, but we got a long way to go here. And Notre Dame, what I know of them, and I know they got a new coaching staff there, but a lot of those kids played for that team, and we have a lot of respect for those kids. We played against them a lot of years. I say they're kids; they're not kids anymore. They're men, but they're kids to me because I watched them grow up playing. um, they're going to do a pretty good job, I believe, in getting their team better. And that's what happened to us last year. We started off really well, and we kind of got this attitude like things were going to be easy, and everybody else was fighting to catch up to us, and they sure did. And in the end, we had a close game in that semifinals. There was a couple of mistakes. Honestly, not having the final change in that game cost us the game, to be honest with you. So this year it'll be a little more important to get that home ice advantage so that doesn't happen to us again next year, and we'll see.
The all important fair play points and trying to get the higher
Yeah,
seeds and everything that
absolutely.
goes on with that. That Centennial game, you guys did score first, and then eventually the Centennial Coyotes, eventual champions, went on to win that semifinal game. How about
Yeah.
your goaltending? You mentioned your goalie from D2 moving up to D1, but let's move on from last year. You had a two senior goaltending tandem between
Good.
Ben Thomas, Austin Chartle. They move on to higher levels of hockey. How do you kind of sum up what they brought to the program and what you're going to miss from those guys?
Yeah, I got to tell you, Shardo was a real pleasure to have. What a great kid. As much as he was a good goalie, he was a fantastic kid, and we really enjoyed having him around. We were lucky to get him. He wasn't a Pinnacle kid. We needed a goalie. They somehow assigned him to us, and we could not have been happier. I think it gave him the inroads to come back to us as a senior, and it was really great to have him. And Ben, we only had for 1 year, but the two of them together, they really got along fantastic. Sometimes that doesn't always happen when you have two goalies; they get competitive. And while they were both competitive, they focused on the ice competitively and not quite against each other. And many times you'd see them hugging at the end of games and things like that, which was really great. They're very, very supportive of each other, and we were lucky to have those two, to be honest.
And the last question I got for you, Coach. I know you guys are probably the overcoming favorite coming in. You have a lot of returning players, a lot of talent on this roster. Do you have a mindset? Do you have a sentence that you continue to tell this team in terms of starting the season and going through the 20 game regular season? Do you guys have maybe a team statement yet?
Well, I don't know that we have a team statement, but the message has been, they're all looking at last year. A lot of these guys are returning. They saw how things went last year. And honestly, we had skill last year. I think our skill level is a little higher this year, but I think we lost the fight more than anything else. And, and that's something we keep talking to them about is, while talent is great, the old saying, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And there's no sport that it's more true than in hockey. And that's the thing we have to keep preaching to these kids, that they need to keep the foot on the gas, and they can't start thinking that they're better than they are, because they really haven't done anything yet. And so, there's a lot of them carrying a lot of pain from that loss last year. Now, honestly, going into those playoffs, if you had asked me and I was being honest, I would have picked Centennial to win anyway. Doesn't matter though. Anything can happen in hockey. And we had a little bit of a mental breakdown with a penalty, and then a penalty right after, and gave up a goal. And then we changed and put our fourth line in. And I don't want to bust the fourth line's chops too much, but we put them in a defensive zone face-off situation, and we probably shouldn't. We did it as Centennial was pulling their top line off. And then the coach, smart on their side, their coach turned around and stuck the first line right back out, and they scored within 15 seconds. And we saw it coming. As they were sending them back out, we couldn't change our guys. We were like, oh, this might not turn out well. And bam, they scored. And it was those two goals were the turning point in the game. And, Centennial was a fantastic team. So beating a team like that, you have to play a perfect game. And we didn't do that. And maybe 1 out of every 10 games we could have beaten them playing a perfect game, right? And it doesn't happen. So this year we're hoping to be the ones with the target on our back and see what we can do with it. But there's a long season to go, and there's a lot of good teams out there. So we're very worried about Mountain Ridge, to be honest with you. That team looks really, really good. And Notre Dame, they seem to lose guys every year, and they seem to retool. There's still a lot of talent left on that team. And, their young coaching staff is hungry. And so I think they could make some noise too. It's going to be interesting to see when we start playing teams like that. We didn't get a lot of them in the seeding tournament, and that's typical. They usually put us against the teams that are borderline to see whether they can hang with us. And I think we kind of showed that we're at a little bit of a higher level than the ones we played. But as the season went on last year, it looked like that, and some of those teams were close with us at the end. So it'll be a fun season, I think. And no matter how it turns out, may the best team win.
It's going to be a fun season. It starts in just about a week. Next weekend is opening weekend. Coach, we thank you so much for the time, and we wish you guys a great season, and we'll stay in contact.
All right. Appreciate it, Dylan. Always great talking to you.